As we move through the season of Advent, and of course we only have 4 short Sundays to cover a lot of territory, we come very quickly to the prophecy of John the Baptist and the idea that there was a forerunner, someone who comes ahead of Christ to proclaim, make straight the path, that the way to the Lord is here. And so it's really an exciting moment where we can really embrace the idea that something new is happening. And as we move towards Christmas and as we prepare our homes and our lives and do our Christmas shopping, it's always helpful to be rooted in the idea that we are preparing for something of God's grace to enter into the world. So this Sunday, we will be reading a lot about a thrilling voice that is sounding in the wilderness. And our liturgy will start right off with that hymn. Hark, a thrilling voice is sounding. Christ is nigh, it seems to say. That hymn and the tune associated with it have become popular in America because of its use in King's College, Cambridge, and their Advent lessons and carols. It's interesting that the melody starts off outlining a major triad. And those 3 notes are also the same 3 notes that we hear in Sleeper's Wake. A voice astounds us. So kind of an interesting little compositional tie-in, whether it was intentional or not. We'll also be singing some really beautiful and energetic, kind of dance-like, folk-like hymns. And the idea that John the Baptist was out in the wilderness eating locusts and wild honey, and the idea sometimes that we think of him as a rather rustic character, and we tend to do that with the poetry and the music that we associate with him. So at the sequence, we'll be singing, Comfort, Comfort Ye My People. Again, these words from Isaiah that John the Baptizer echoes, that God's grace is coming, that we do want to think a little bit about the repentance and that, but sometimes that gets over-accentuated. Really, the message is one of peace and of hope and of comfort. So we have this really delightful kind of late Renaissance tune to sing these words from Isaiah. Dances right along, and we can dance along with John the Baptizer in his words. At the end of the service, we'll be singing, Prepare the way, O Zion, your Christ is drawing near. Again, this idea of make straight the pathway in the wilderness. And again, this comes from another folk tradition. This is a Swedish folk tune, so we don't get to sing a lot of Swedish hymns, and this one has that same sort of rustic quality and joy to it. In between those, we'll have, of course, a couple of choral anthems. The choir will be singing a selection from Messiah and the Glory of the Lord, again, echoing those words of Isaiah. But then, for a more tender moment in the liturgy, at the communion, they'll be singing a lovely little motet by Mark Sirett. Thou shalt know him when he comes, not by grandeur and splendor, but by the way that we can see beauty in the world. And Mark Sirett sets this in a very tender fashion. So we get to look at John the Baptizer and these words from Isaiah from a multiple number of viewpoints. So we hope that as you go through your Advent journey, that you will join with us here at St. John's as we hear these words anew this year.